Welcome to our presentation. My name is Chris Walkowitz. I'm a machine vision expert with Datalogic, and I'm really excited to share this pharmaceutical application with you today. Before I jump right into the application, I want to share a little bit about our M-Series processor. The M-Series processor is a multi-camera system that can handle up to 4 cameras, and these cameras can be mixed and matched between high resolution or cameras with various form factors and various sizes. Also, this processor is extremely fast due to the multi-core processing capabilities. On top of that, you can also get cameras with very high frame rates, which ultimately leads to higher throughput for your entire machine vision system and your entire production system as a whole. I hear time and time again from our customers that whenever they need more than one camera for a machine vision inspection, using the M-Series processor and cameras is always the lowest cost option. And that's because they can mix and match different brands of cameras and the right cameras all with one processor. And there's really no excessive hardware or extra hardware needed. I do want to point out that the M-Series processor has a built-in PC, so you can do programming, you can deploy the cameras, you can watch the cameras during runtime, all from one single point of interaction with the entire system. Also, this built-in PC is really an industrial PC. It's very rugged and made to handle the factory floor. So as promised, here's the fun stuff, the actual application. It's a 2-camera system, and here's 2 images. The top left-hand image is a barcode as well as text code right below it. We're going to read the barcode. We're also going to use our optical character recognition tools, or OCR tool, to read the text code right below it. We're then going to match the code from the barcode with the text code for tracking purposes. We're then going to look at the image in the bottom right corner, which is a blister pack with pills. Any slot missing a pill will be rejected. After that, we're going to create a user interface using our software called Impact CPM. And what we're going to do is interact with the cameras we just programmed. This is what the application might look like when it's complete and running on the factory floor. We might be able to read the barcode string, see where there's missing blister packs, reset counters, and interact with the cameras. So let's take a look at our software. I'm going to be demonstrating Impact VPM, which is used to program the cameras, and Impact CPM, which is used to program that user interface that I just showed you. So let's go into VPM. I'm now in Impact VPM, or Impact Vision Program Manager. And what I want to do is I want to program this application to read this barcode in the bottom left corner, as well as read the text right here and match up the string from the barcode to the text that was read. And this will be used for tracking purposes. The first thing I need to do is locate the image, because this image is going to move around. Let's go ahead and look at the image as we snap through a few more images. You can see that it moves a little bit. So the first thing we need to do is drop in a locating tool. We're going to use our pattern find tool under the locating toolbox. So I just dragged and dropped that tool into the program. I'm going to go ahead and train this tool. I'm going to train it on a pattern that would be consistent from image to image. So let me go ahead and zoom in on this a little bit. And I'm going to train it on this little string of text right here. So I'm going to put this box around it. This is an ROI, or region of interest. I'm going to say it can rotate a few degrees, and a little bit of scaling is acceptable. I'm going to go ahead and hit train, and you can see these yellow lines around the text means that this pattern was trained. I now need to go in, and let's make the image a little bigger, and we'll zoom out a little bit. And I need to tell the camera approximately where to look for this pattern. And I want the camera to look about in this area. it shouldn't move too much outside of this green square. And let's go ahead and test it a little bit. Looks like the pattern find tool is working perfectly. So now we need to go ahead and read this barcode. So I'm going to go to the Reader's Toolbox and drop in a code reader tool. I'm going to position this region of interest around the code to train it. I don't want to get it close. I'm going to hit the train button, and you can see this blue line indicates that it found the code. And here's the code that it read. And I know from the spec sheet that this code is exactly what it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this code into our filter tool. So what this is going to do is anytime the code that it reads does not match this filter, it's going to reject the part. Now I need to read the code that's written below that barcode. So I'm going to use our optical character recognition tool. This OCR tool, or optical character recognition tool, is really a world-class tool. There's nothing better in the industry for reading characters. I'm going to go ahead and just adjust the ROI. I want to turn it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And let's actually make this image bigger so it's a little easier to see for you. Rotate it. And what I'm doing is I'm training these characters. So I'm going to position this ROI around these characters. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to come to the next step, and I need to tell it what those characters are that I just trained. So I'm just going to paste this in right into the string box and hit train, and you can see all the characters were trained. I'm now going to go into the last step. So even though it read these characters, it doesn't mean they're correct. I need a verify string, which is the string that I want. And so I'm going to paste that in. And these two strings do indeed match, and they also match with the barcode. So tracking is going to be accomplished with this application. Let's go ahead and snap through to make sure that everything's reading. And you can see here, it looks like it read 0050, and it's supposed to be 0009. So that's the problem. It highlighted the two problematic characters. And let's go ahead and look at the barcode reader again. And I want to snap through a few to make sure that's reading properly. And it looks like it is, except for that barcode that looks a little bit smeared, and that's good. We want that to fail. And it looks like we have a good application that's ready to be deployed. The last thing we need to do is put in some logic to actually reject the part from the conveyor. I'm going to drop in a pass-fail tool. And in this pass-fail tool, I'm actually going to drop in a tool that allows us to communicate with an external device. And this tool is called the discrete output tool. It's going to send an electrical pulse to some external device to kick this part off the line. I'm going to pulse this electrical output for 200 milliseconds, and we now have a working application. Alright, I'm now connected up to the second camera, and what I want to do here is look at this blister pack and find any pockets that are missing pills. So I'm going to use probably one of my favorite tools in all of this software, and it's called the average intensity tool. It's under the feature finding toolbox. It's called average intensity. I'm going to drag that and drop that out into the program. I'm going to go into the setup screen, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this original ROI, and I'm going to put a custom shaped one in. And let me zoom in a little bit here. And why don't I make this image a little larger? So what I'm doing is I'm positioning this region of interest around the pill. And ultimately, I'm going to read the intensity or the average lightness or darkness of what's inside of this region of interest. So I want to do this same ROI a number of times, so I'm going to actually copy and paste. I'm going to go ahead and select both. Copy, paste. I'm going to go ahead and select them both. I'm going to do a copy and paste on my keyboard. And do it again. And I noticed I have one ROI off the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to now copy and paste this entire row. And again, copy and paste most of this row. I want to make a little bit of an adjustment to some of these down here. And these don't have to be perfect, but I do want to get them close. The closer I get it, the more robust my inspection will be. Great. Let's copy and paste this row. And I'm just using my keyboard, Control-C and Control-V on my keyboard. Great. And I'm just going to move these to make them perfect. So I want it to work in the best possible way it can. And that looks good. We have ROIs around all of our pills. And let me zoom out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this input. And now what this tool is going to do is it's going to look inside of each ROI. It's going to look at the average intensity or the average lightness or darkness on a scale of 0 being black to 100 being white. And it's going to train. Once I hit this train button, it's going to train each individual ROI to its respective average intensity. So I'm going to hit train. And if I click on this ROI, you'll notice it looks a little bit darker. The average intensity is approximately 56.9. If I click on one in the middle that I know is a little lighter, the average intensity is 73. I trained it, and I gave each intensity a plus or minus tolerance of 10. So let's click through and see what happens. Great, and you can see we're missing a pill right here. And here it is. It was trained at 73, and the intensity now with the missing pill is 96, which is outside of our tolerance. So this tool is working properly. And it seems to catch all the missing pills. So that's working out just perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off with a pass-fail tool and a discrete output tool, which pulses output 2 for 200 milliseconds. And we now have a working application. I've now opened Impact CPM or Impact Control Panel Manager, and I brought in the program from our first camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop in an image. And let's go ahead and drop in some pattern finding information. Let's go ahead and drop in each of those points that it found around the perimeter of this pattern. Perfect. We can do anything we like. In fact, we could change the color of that pattern. Let's go ahead and change it to orange. Excellent, that looks good. Let's go ahead and drop in the barcode. And here's the output string that it found. I'm going to drop that in. Let's change the background color. And we need to drop in something that's going to tell us whether it passed or failed. So I'm going to drop in this input here. I'm going to put a little indicator light on the screen. Now let's go ahead to the OCR tool. Let's drop our character boxes out onto the image. And let's drop an input so we can see the red characters turn red if they're failing. I also want to display the output string. And let's change the background color on that again. And we'll put an indicator light to help us know if it's passing or failing. We can also put some overall information for this inspection. Let's put the pass count, the fail count, and the entire run count. And we want this to look good, so I'm going to go ahead and align these. And let's put a reset button to reset the counts. I do want to point out that this entire control panel is completely customizable, and it really is a lot of fun to make this control panel your own. I'm going to go in and drop in some text displays. Because I know if I don't do it, I'll forget. So there's our pass count. There's my fail count. And there's my run count. In a normal application, this camera would be triggered by an external triggering device, such as a sensor. But in this case, I put in a special task, which is going to allow us to run the camera by just the click of a button. So let's go ahead and try it out. Great, it looks like everything's working perfectly. The only thing I'd like to do is maybe zoom in on this image. So I'm going to click on the image. I'm going to come down to the image properties. I'm going to make the toolbar visible. And now I have this toolbar so I can zoom in on the image. And let's go ahead and trigger again. Perfect. What a great looking interface. Operators, engineers, whomever might be on the floor that need to interact with the system can see it run, can make adjustments, can check the statistics. Anything they might need to do can be exposed in this interface. Normally I'd go ahead and add the other camera, but I mostly wanted to point out the functionality and the ease of use of this program. So I'm going to leave it for another time. And that wraps up our Impact VPM and CPM software demonstrations. That also wraps up the rest of this presentation. Again, my name was Chris Walkowitz. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.